Right, so what is the fastest, snappiest phone? We've got the Xiaomi Mi 9, the Oppo Reno 10x Zoom Edition, and the Huawei P30 Pro. 3 flagships from 3 Chinese brands right here. Oppo in the middle, Xiaomi Mi 9 on the left, P30 Pro on the right. The Xiaomi and the Oppo are using the same chipset, but other internals may change. The Oppo being first to boot up, followed by the Xiaomi, and then the Huawei following. The Oppo Reno and the Xiaomi Mi 9 are both using a Snapdragon 855 with 6 gigs of RAM. The P30 Pro is using Huawei's own Kirin 980 with 8 gigs of RAM. Usually I do an unlocking test of 10 consecutive unlockings. The Oppo Reno, once you press off on the screen, you can't unlock the phone for about 1 or 2 seconds after you've turned it off, as you can see here. It would make the 10 consecutive unlockings test really just not comparable whatsoever. The Oppo would take an age to complete the test. So I'll just unlock the phones side by side and decide which one is the quickest at opening the phone using the fingerprint sensor. 3, 2, 1, go. Just the Oppo maybe. Let's just do that again. 3, 2, 1, go. I would say again that is just the Oppo that is quicker. 3, 2, 1, go. Just the Oppo again. And let's just go and use the Xiaomi Mi 9 versus the Oppo Reno. Now this is the same processor, so it should be around the same time. So 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, just the Oppo. Definitely quicker than the Xiaomi there. 3, 2, 1, go. Yet the Oppo again is quicker than the Xiaomi. It's really not a huge difference. Last time for good measure. 3, 2, 1, go. Just the Oppo again. The Oppo is the quickest out of these. You can also use face unlock using the Oppo Reno, but of course you don't have that selfie camera. The other two have selfie cameras built into the screen, into the notch. So how will this affect unlocking times? 3, 2, 1, go. Against the Huawei, you have to give it to the Huawei there. 3, 2, 1, go. And swipe up. Again, the Huawei is quicker than the Oppo. 3, 2, 1, go, and swipe up. Again, the Huawei is beating the Oppo Reno here. It just takes longer for that mechanism to pop up. Let's test it against the Xiaomi. 3, 2, 1, go, swipe up, and the Xiaomi didn't recognize my face. There it is. Okay, let's try that again. 3, 2, 1, go, and swipe up. Again, the Xiaomi, it's recognizing? There it is. Okay. Keeping on the theme of opening things at the same time. 3, 2, 1, go. This is Bilibili. It's the Chinese equivalent of YouTube. That was very, very similar. There really wasn't much in it. Let's try Subway Surfers and just see how this fares. 3, 2, 1, go. Now you can see on the Oppo, it uses Game Center. Now this is something that Oppo uses, and it says that it will boost the phone's performance when playing games. Anecdotally, when I was using the phone, it felt slower. It felt like an extra screen that was in the opening process. But as you can see, the Oppo was first. So you have to assume that Oppo's Game Center is helping the phone. The Huawei is having big problems, and they've updated the app here in China. So EMUI might be having a problem with that. It was a recurring theme through the speed test. While we are waiting for the Huawei to load, it does seem like Game Center on the Oppo helps out the phone a lot. You saw during the speed test that actually the Oppo didn't have to reload PUBG. This is pretty much the standalone reason why it was so much quicker than the Xiaomi Mi 9. Oppo have obviously spent time optimizing the phone for playing games. This is PUBG, but it's changed recently in mainland China for a couple of reasons that I won't go into. But let's just finish off the test with Weibo, which is the equivalent of Facebook. And I would say that the Oppo was actually slowest there. So maybe the Game Center helps the Oppo, but during other tests, it's pretty similar. Baidu, again, it's pretty much the same across all three devices. The final one here just opened the camera app. 3, 2, 1, go. And I would say that is more or less the same. And let's move on to Antutu benchmark. I want to see the difference between the Mi 9 and the Oppo here, because they're using the same processor. How will their software affect performance? The Mi 9 got a higher score than the Oppo, even though they're both using the same processor. The Mi 9 is renowned for getting high scores in this test. It's using the same processor, but it beat the Oppo. The Huawei is on performance mode, not battery saving mode, and it is still lagging behind both of these phones. Okay, this is important. Check out these results. This is a Wi-Fi speed test. Just see how much better the Huawei is at downloading data from the internet. This is such an incredibly important factor when using a phone. This is not a one-off. This has been replicated in different speed tests on the channel. The max download speeds from the Huawei are just so much quicker than every other phone that I've tested it against. Now, Huawei have a lot of their own technology in regards to modems and things like that. So it's obviously helping out their phones a lot in this regard. All right, so what do I take from today's speed test? Actually, the Reno is a really good performer, and you don't expect much else from a Snapdragon 855. I like the unlocking times as well. I would say unlocking the device is probably quicker than both the Xiaomi and the Huawei. I'm not sure how much I would use face unlock, just because using that mechanism maybe 20 or 30 times a day to unlock your phone. I'm not sure how long that spring mechanism is going to last. But we saw that the 6GB version of the Oppo Reno versus the 6GB version of the Mi 9 versus the 8GB version of the Huawei. Actually, these two 6GB versions held up pretty well. Apart from the speed test and opening apps, Color OS on this phone does get in the way a little bit. There are some extra screens when going into apps or coming out of apps. It asks me if I want to exit an app when I've pressed exit. So that slows down and complicates the process of using the phone a little bit. However, overall, I'm really pleased with how the Oppo Reno has fared against both of these phones.